we had Friday Night Smackdown out of Berlin, Germany tonight. And I got to say, this was an awesome show. Also, I was right about almost everything. Look, you're already here. Hit that subscribe button. The show kicked off with Randy Orton coming to the ring. And I got to say that, man, these European crowds just put American crowds to shame, man. Looking back at Monday Night Raw out of Barclays Center, out of the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, and I live in New York, right? So like I'm always defending New York crowds for the most part. But man, that crowd was so dead on Monday. It really made for, I think it was partially to blame for how people felt about that show on Monday, right? Because a lot of things happened, but people were just like, was this a bad show? And I think it had a lot to do with the crowd. But tonight, seeing that Berlin crowd like just yell, sing every single word for Randy Orton's theme song, like absolutely amazing. Like I love when WWE does these kind of shows, partially because I like the earlier start times for WWE events, but also because these crowds never disappoint. Yeah, anyway, like I said, Randy Orton came to the ring. He started to cut a promo. I don't even think he actually got started. And then he was immediately interrupted by Trick Williams. Trick Williams came in and essentially put him on notice too, right? He's like, I'm the newest guy on the roster. Like, I'm going after every title. I'm going after the big title, whatever. Basically just saying, he is the guy. Basically, is what Trick Williams was saying, which Randy Orton, didn't take lightly because Randy Orton, he doesn't overreact to things. He draped DDT'd him. Great, awesome. Then Randy Orton gets attacked by The Miz. The Miz comes up from behind him because if you can remember last week when Randy Orton returned, he RKO'd The Miz in the ring. So The Miz came from behind, tried to attack him, but also ate an RKO from Randy Orton. And then Randy Orton just kind of left the ring. Left them both just there. So I don't know exactly what this means for Trick Williams. He's kind of been feuding with everyone. So I like it. Just having him be the obnoxious heel who calls out all the veterans. I'm here for it. I think Trick Williams is a breath of fresh air for Friday Night SmackDown. And I can't wait for him to really shine. But he did have his debut match tonight against Fenix as Randy Orton was kind of leaving after RKOing everyone like he does. Fenix entrance music hits and he starts to come towards the ring, and match between Fenix and Trick Williams. If you saw my last video talking about the preview for this event, for the show, I think we were all in agreement that Trick Williams needed to win tonight, but I was worried about what that meant for Fenix because he can't catch a win, right? And something with him just isn't connecting, and then just having him lose and lose again just wasn't going to help that. And with Trick Williams being, the newest person on this roster, he had to win because him coming in and losing also didn't help him. But I think that WWE did a really good thing here. I think the way that they played this out, I actually really enjoy it. I feel like not a lot of people are gonna because, hey, look, another roll up. But Fenix held his own, and this match went back and forth a lot. Both of these guys look strong. Fenix goes for a pin, and then it gets reversed by Trick Williams. Trick Williams, basically reverses a pinfall into another pinfall and holds the tights. And 1, 2, 3, Trick Williams does get the win tonight. But like I said, both of these guys look strong. I don't think either of them were hurt by this match. Trick Williams is a heel. He won in a heelish way. Great. As to where both of these guys go from here, Trick Williams will get into it in a bit. We'll get into it a little bit later. But last week, he set up some sort of feud with Sami Zayn. Like, he interrupted Sami in the ring. So, like, that gives him a pathway to go down. Now he has this path with Randy Orton. So there's a lot of avenues for him to go down after, like I mentioned, we'll get into it later, but he has a match scheduled next week against Matt Cardona. So after that's done, whether he wins or loses, moves on to that fatal 4-way match that we'll talk about later. Doesn't matter because there are paths for him to go down. He can go down a feud with Sami Zayn. He can go down a feud with with Randy Orton. He could go down some sort of relationship with The Miz, considering The Miz is still kind of feuding with Carmelo Hayes, and there's that whole dynamic between Trick and Carmelo Hayes. I don't want that to be the case. I don't want another new guy being partnered with The Miz. I feel like Trick can hold his own. So let's not do that. But there's definitely different paths for him to go down. Where Rey Fenix goes, I don't know. I feel like the best thing for Rey to do is to go to Monday Night Raw, to get involved in this feud between Rey Mysterio and Penta and the Vision. I feel like they've kind of adopted Dragon Lee into that, but yeah, I just don't see anything else he can do. Sure, he can answer the open challenge for the U.S. title, but there just isn't anything left for him. So WWE just isn't showing a path for him. So I don't know. I don't know where Rey goes from here. But this match was great, and Trick Williams getting the win was the right decision, and I think they protected both of them. So all good there. Also, tonight's SmackDown had 6 matches, which is absolutely crazy. Sometimes we get 5, most of the time we get 4. We got 6 matches tonight, and they were all really good, and none of them felt like a waste. None of them felt like a filler match. So that was absolutely amazing. The second match of the night was Alexa Bliss against Giulia for the U.S. title. I don't know what the point of this was. I don't know how this happened. Alexa Bliss was not feuding for the U.S. title. She and Charlotte Flair have been feuding for the tag team titles, and that thread is still there considering what happened during this match, and we'll get into it in a bit. But anyway, before this match, Alexa Bliss was on the phone with Charlotte Flair being like, look, you're sick. I'm sorry you couldn't make it, but yeah, I have this match. She even said, she's like, I don't even know why I'm in this match. But she's having a conversation with Charlotte Flair on the phone. Apparently, Charlotte was too sick to go to Germany. So, and then she gets interrupted by Lash Legend and Nia Jax, where they essentially were like, oh, your friend's not here today. Oh, interesting. You have your first singles feud, your first singles match since partnering up, and oh, she doesn't want to show up. Oh, you have a singles title match and your best friend isn't here? Interesting. A little selfish of her. So trying to drive that wedge between Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, which I think we all know that that's eventually how this is going to end. This is eventually going to end with them turning on each other. So I think it was actually kind of smart for WWE to start planting those seeds there. So heels being heels, and then Alexa's like, look, I have a match to get to, so I'm out of here. There was also a segment backstage with Giulia. Honestly, I don't even remember what she said. Something about being the best, and then Kiana James second that. I don't understand what they're doing with Giulia. I think they need to just remove Kiana James from her. Just have her be a badass. Have her not talk on the mic if that's your worry. Who cares? Giulia is an amazing wrestler, and her wrestling can do the talking for her. So you guys know, if you guys have watched me for long enough, I don't like this partnership between Giulia and Kiana James. But anyway, Giulia does end up getting the win tonight. And it actually looked like Alexa Bliss was getting ready to win. She does the Sister Abigail DDT. She's getting ready to do Twisted Bliss. And then I think Kiana James gets on the apron. Referee gets distracted. Lash Legend comes up from behind and pushes Alexa Bliss from the top rope, which then gives Giulia the opening. And then Giulia eventually gets the win, 1, 2, 3, and she retains as the U.S. champion. After this match, Lash Legend and Nia Jax get into the ring. They start beating on Alexa Bliss. There's no one there to save Alexa Bliss. So Alexa Bliss just takes the beating, and we go to commercial break from there. I don't know. I guess that was the point of this. I don't know why this match happened. I don't know why it was Alexa Bliss against Giulia for the U.S. title. Fine, great match. Both of these girls can go. I'm all about it. Obviously, this is going to keep that storyline going, that tag team storyline going. So we'll probably get a Lash Legend versus Nia Jax match against Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair at some point. And hopefully that still leads towards the ladder match for the tag team titles that I desperately want. I feel like WWE is growing further and further and further away from this, especially considering that Rhea Ripley and Io Sky just won the titles last week. And that scares me because this is something that absolutely needs to happen, and it needs to happen at the Rumble. And I know everyone's upset because they think that that's going to take everyone. Let them compete in the Rumble anyway. Who cares? I don't care. Let them compete in both matches. They can, they will. All of these women's are Look, you have me speaking gibberish. All of these women are absolutely amazing wrestlers. They're absolutely amazing competitors. They can do both matches. So I hope that still is the case. I hope they still do that, and I hope it's at the Rumble. But I still don't understand why Alexa Bliss had to take on Giulia. As far as where Giulia goes from here, I have no idea. I have no idea. Listen, we're getting a bunch of call-ups we're getting a bunch of call-ups from NXT. I thought it would be Jordynne Grace. Tonight's episode showed us that Jordynne Grace's path might be a little bit different. So I don't know. Maybe let's. I've been wanting. I've been wanting Nikki Cross to get involved in the U.S. title scene. Maybe this is the time to do that, but I don't know what they're doing with Giulia, and I don't know what path they're taking Giulia down at this point. And I don't think they know either, to be perfectly fair. So we had the MFTs against the Wyatt Six tonight. I thought it was going to be an elimination match. I thought I had heard that this was going to be an elimination match. But this was a traditional 4-on-4 with 3 guys on the apron waiting to get tagged. On the Wyatt side, we had Joe Gacy, we had Dexter Lumis, we had Eric Rowan and Uncle Howdy as the 4 male competitors in the Wyatt Six. On the MFTs, we had Solo Sikoa, we had Tala Tonga, we had Tama Tonga, and we had JC Mateo. So Tonga Loa sat this one out. The match was fun. The match was actually a lot quicker than I thought it would be, and maybe it's because I was expecting an elimination match, so I felt like I still had a long time to go. But the match felt very quick. The MFTs were the right call. They won this match, by the way. It was the right call for them to win. I've said that before. If WWE wants us to take them seriously, let's have them take some W's. Let's have them win. Let's eventually get the gold on them. You guys know how much I love the Wyatt Six. You guys know this channel is all about the Wyatt Six, but I think that the belts and these wins can benefit the MFTs a lot more than it can benefit the Wyatts. I do want WWE to do more with the Wyatts this year, but it's not all about wins and losses for them. So anyway, Uncle Howdy had Tama Tonga. Uncle Howdy was about to get the win at one point. And Solo Sikoa comes out and he grabs the lantern, right? He grabs Bray Wyatt's lantern, and that lantern is what brings this family together. They are the fireflies to this lantern. And of course, Uncle Howdy jumps up when this happens. He goes to the apron, and that creates an opening for Tama Tonga. So Tama Tonga then, I don't remember what move he does. I don't remember. He does like I don't remember what it's called. He does like an elbow thing as his finisher now, like a running elbow. So he does that, and then he pins Uncle Howdy 1, 2, 3. And the MFTs just leave with the lantern. So Solo Sikoa now has Bray Wyatt's lantern. So this feud isn't over. We're probably going to get a one-on-one match between Solo Sikoa and Uncle Howdy. And then we'll probably get a tag team match for the titles. I hope Uncle Howdy beats Solo. But then I hope that the MFTs beat the Wyatt Six for the tag team championship. So I don't know how that'll happen. I don't know what that's going to do. But Uncle Howdy needs to beat Solo in order to get that lantern back. So I don't know. But this was a fun match. This is a fun feud. Let's wrap it up, though. Let's wrap up this feud. At some point tonight, we did get Jordynne Grace backstage with Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis is basically just welcoming her to the roster, welcoming her to SmackDown, so she's officially a WWE SmackDown superstar. They then get interrupted by Chelsea Green and Alba Fyre. Chelsea Green is asking for a rematch for her title, of course. Alba Fyre steps in when Jordynne Grace tries to confront Chelsea Green about being interrupted. Nick Aldis is like, oh, this is perfect. Jordynne Grace needs a match tonight, so it's going to be Jordynne Grace against Alba Fyre. And just as soon as this match became a match, this was another squash match for Alba Fyre. Or this was another squash match in which Alba Fyre got squashed. Perfectly fine, that's her role. No problem there. No one got hurt. So Jordynne Grace, picks up a win very easily against Alba Fyre. She starts to leave, right, getting her first win on her WWE main roster debut. As she's going up the ramp, whose music happens to hit, no one else's than Jade Cargill. And Jade Cargill comes out, looks her up and down, goes around her, looks at her, and she's basically like, welcome to WWE SmackDown. This is my show, and I am that bitch. Because she is. Jade Cargill is that bitch. Yes, WWE. I want this. I want them to have several matches together. I want this feud to go on forever. I feel like both of these women can get the best out of each other. And this is a feud I want to watch. This is a feud I want. Do I think Jordynne Grace will win the title? No, but then again, there's been a lot of title changes this week that I was like, I didn't think that would happen either. So who knows? But I want to see this match happen. I want to see it next week. I want to see it the week after. I want to see it every week for the next 100 years. I don't care. But this match is going to be great. This feud is going to be great. And I love this being Jordynne Grace's first real feud on the main roster. We also got Carmelo Hayes' open challenge for the U.S. title. And as we're ramping up to this match, as we're ramping up to Carmelo Hayes coming out and, basically just waiting for an opponent, we got a couple of backstage segments. So first, as he's coming out, he runs into The Miz again. The Miz is like, hey, I've talked to Nick Aldis, and I'm going after your title. I'm going to respond to your open challenge. Carmelo Hayes is like, great. I'm going out to the ring. I'll meet you out there. The Miz is like, well, not tonight, but I will eventually. I'm going to go talk to Nick Aldis about something else first. Whatever. Carmelo Hayes then keeps walking towards the ring, and he runs into Ilya Dragunov, and he's like, hey, I'm about to go out there and pose an open challenge. It'd be great if you came out here and we do this again. We do what we did last time, and we kill it out there. And Ilya Dragunov is like, we're gonna get another opportunity. We're gonna get a lot of opportunities, but I'm working on something else right now. So great. No one wants to answer Carmelo Hayes' open challenge. So as Carmelo Hayes is out in the ring, we get another backstage segment between Axiom we get another backstage segment between Nathan Frazier and who we think is Axiom, right? And then Axiom starts beating up on Nathan Frazier, and then it turns out he takes off his mask, and it turns out it's Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano beat up on Nathan Frazier. Axiom then comes out from, I don't know where he was, comes out to make the save. Johnny Gargano runs away, and that's that. So I was like, oh, Johnny Gargano's going to answer the open challenge. But I was absolutely wrong about that as well. So who did end up answering the open challenge was Shinsuke Nakamura. Look, there's no way this was a bad match, right? And if you saw this, you know that this wasn't a bad match. I can talk about how good this match was, whatever, who cares? What I'm really concerned about is WWE has nothing for Shinsuke. Shinsuke is a solid wrestler. Everybody gets excited when he's on screen. Like the pop he got tonight by this crowd. And yeah, part of it is, the European crowds. Part of it is that we haven't seen him since September. But okay, he answered the open challenge. He lost. Carmelo Hayes gets the win. What now for Shinsuke? What's his feud going to be? Is he going after a title? He'll probably be in the Royal Rumble, but what's going to come from there, right? They've done this before with Shinsuke when he comes back and they have him do a match or two and then he goes away again because they don't have anything for him. Like that kind of happened with the MFTs where he partnered up with Sami Zayn and the Motor City Machine Guns and Rey Fenix, and then he went away because he wasn't doing anything else. So that's the concerning part about all this is I don't know what Shinsuke does next, and I don't think WWE does either. And that seems to be a common theme with some of these wrestlers. So I hope that I'm just not seeing the bigger picture and we can see them get something going soon. I don't know, maybe we'll get Rey Fenix and Shinsuke Nakamura as a tag team. I shouldn't have said that out loud. We probably are going to get that next. Damn! What I do like about the Melo side of this, the Carmelo Hayes side of this, is that there are multiple competitors trying to get after this title. We do have both members of Fraxium that are like, oh yeah, that'd be a cool title to go after. So they're there. We have Johnny Gargano, who apparently Carmelo Hayes was is currently feuding with. He had a match with him last week. That seems to not be over. The Miz claims that he's going to have a match with Carmelo Hayes at some point. We'll see if that actually happens. But there are different people. And of course, there's always Trick Williams. There's always that eventually Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes will cross paths. So there's always that. So I like that, again, there are multiple avenues for Carmelo Hayes here. And that makes me happy because the dude is, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but he's him. Yeah, he's him. So I'm excited to see what happens, what comes out of this. So no complaints on that side of the story. Before we get to tonight's main event, there were several segments tonight in which apparently everyone is just gunning for the Undisputed title. And I didn't realize that there was a Saturday night's main event coming up. I don't even know. Is it before the Rumble? Yeah, it has to be before the Rumble, considering what they did. But Matt Cardona went up to Cody Rhodes. Well, first they were interviewing Matt Cardona, and basically he's like, "I'm not Zack Ryder anymore. I'm Matt Cardona, and no more woo woo." And when I got fired from WWE, I was like, I can rest on my laurels, or I can just go out and make myself. And he's like, I made myself. Cool. Matt Cardona's awesome. We all know this. He then went to Cody Rhodes, and he's like, hey, after you beat Drew tonight, I want a shot at your title, basically. Cody Rhodes was like, great. We go a long way back. I'd be happy to give you that. Great. There's that. You remember earlier when I said that The Miz was like, yeah, I'm going to go after that U.S. title, but not yet. I'm working on something else. Turns out that thing he was working on was going after the Undisputed title that Cody Rhodes currently held. What Randy Orton was talking about in the ring earlier was going after that Undisputed title. When Trick Williams interrupted him, he was talking about going after that Undisputed title. We had a segment with Drew McIntyre where he was talking about the ambulance match from last week. He was talking about how the feud is finally done with Aleister Black, and now he wants to go after the Undisputed title. He actually goes and talks to Drew, and he's like, hey, look, if you win, we can run it again. You remember, we've had matches against each other. Let's run it again and have some fun. Was essentially what he said, right? So he wants to go after the Undisputed title. We had a segment with Sami Zayn where they were kind of asking him, like, hey, you made your return last week. Like, what's your plan? And he's like, I want to go after the Undisputed title. So we have all of these guys going after the Undisputed title. And apparently we have a Saturday night's main event happening soon. So we're getting 4 qualifying matches next week. And the winner of those 4 qualifying matches from next week on SmackDown are going to go into a fatal 4-way at Saturday night's main event. The winner from that fatal 4-way will then go after the Undisputed title. We'll have a match for the Undisputed title at the Royal Rumble with tonight's winner between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. So a little bit convoluted, but when you break it down, it's a lot of fun, and I don't hate it. And any of these people that I'm about to say in a fatal 4-way, great. So I'm going to read from my paper. But the 4 matches that are scheduled for this week are Sami Zayn versus Ilya Dragunov. Oh, because Ilya Dragunov also, when he was talking to Carmelo Hayes, and he's like, we'll have a match, but right now I'm working on something else, he also wanted a title shot. So it's Sami Zayn versus Ilya Dragunov. Oh no, don't give me an amazing match. We have Damian Priest versus Solo Sikoa. All right, maybe not as amazing, but there is that Solo Sikoa Uncle Howdy thing, so Damian Priest is probably winning that match. We have Matt Cardona against Trick Williams. I don't know where they go from here. Both of these guys are new on the roster. They probably give it to Trick, though, to be fair. But both of these guys are new on the roster. Both of these guys could really use a win, so that's going to be a really fun match. And then we have Randy Orton versus The Miz, which Randy Orton will definitely win. But sure, listen, I don't hate The Miz. The Miz in ring is a lot of fun. So Miz versus Randy Orton, let's run it again. Fine, no big deal. So the winners of those 4 matches will then go into a fatal 4-way at Saturday night's main event. The winner of that will then face the winner between Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes tonight. Spoiler alert, it was Drew McIntyre. What? All right, so we have our main event. 3 stages of hell between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. There was a piece of the story tonight in which Drew McIntyre apparently had the Rolex that Dusty Rhodes sold way back in the day to get Cody into wrestling school, right? Like, I think, listen, if you're watching wrestling videos on YouTube, you've probably heard this story before, but the story is that Dusty Rhodes had this gold Rolex and he pawned it off to pay for Cody Rhodes' wrestling school. And apparently Drew McIntyre tracked it down and he bought it because he's a heel and that's the kind of thing he does. And that was the story with tonight. He came out to the ring wearing it, as a matter of fact. First day, I just want to say, there's going to be a lot of people out there being like, oh, no one saw this coming. Oh, who could have predicted? Me. I predicted this. I told you how this match would go. It didn't go exactly how I thought it would go, but the last stage of hell damn certainly did. So the first stage of this match was a normal singles match, a regular wrestling match. And throughout this whole match, throughout this whole portion of it, it was Drew McIntyre basically baiting Cody into getting disqualified. Cody grabbed the chair and Drew McIntyre just kind of put his hands behind him and was like, hit me, let's do this, come on. Because a DQ would mean a win in this stage. None of that happened. At some point, Drew McIntyre took the turnbuckle off the corner. The ref then gets distracted, putting the turnbuckle back. He low blows Cody Rhodes. He claymores Cody Rhodes. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre gets the win in the normals match. So stage 1 out of 3 was won by Drew McIntyre. Stage 2 was a false counts anywhere street fight kind of match. And yeah, I mean, these guys, look, the story is that they hate each other, so they hit each other with mostly everything. At one point of the match, Cody Rhodes does a crossroad on Drew McIntyre on top of the announce table. The announce table breaks. They both fall on their back. Cody just kind of rolls over on Drew. 1, 2, 3. Cody Rhodes wins the second stage of this match. So it's all tied up. It's 1-1. And the next stage is a steel cage match. This whole match was just really good, man. Like, both of these guys really, like, I believe that they do hate each other now. Like, I know, like, we know the whole wrestling thing, but I'm like, maybe they do hate each other in real life, because they were hitting each other with everything. There was this awesome cutter that Cody does at one point where he's not like all the way on top of the cage, but the announcers really made it seem like he was on top of the cage. But he was like 3/4 up, and he jumps off the cage and he hits Drew McIntyre with this cutter, and I was like, it just looked great. Like it just looked really good. There was a point where Drew McIntyre was getting ready to leave the ring. Cody Rhodes is down and out. Drew McIntyre crawls his way to the door, and you know how WWE does. There's a hooded guy waiting for Drew McIntyre. There's a guy in a hoodie and a ski mask, and yeah, you'll never guess who it was. It was Jacob Fatu. He takes off his hood. He takes off the mask. Yeah, it's Jacob Fatu, and he's beating up people. That's what he's here to do. He's here to beat up some people. So he goes after Drew McIntyre, basically beats him up back into the ring. So Drew is out in the middle of the ring. At one point, Cody Rhodes gets upset because I guess Jacob Fatu got involved in his match. So Jacob Fatu, so he kind of pushes Jacob Fatu, and Jacob Fatu gets mad, and he goes back and he beats the crap out of Cody Rhodes too. So as he's beating up Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre's like, oh, this is my chance. And he starts crawling towards the entrance, towards the door. And the whole time in the back of my mind, I was like, look, I know that I said Drew McIntyre was going to win this match, but something's going to happen, right? Someone else is going to pop up. Maybe Randy's going to pop up, or maybe Jacob Fatu's going to be like, not so fast, and then go after him again. But no, Cody Rhodes just was getting beat up by Jacob Fatu, and Drew McIntyre just kind of fell out of the ring. He kind of fell out of the cage, and our new undisputed champion, less than a month before the Royal Rumble, 3 weeks before the Royal Rumble, is none other than Drew McIntyre. And all of these plans that everyone had for Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns 3 for the undisputed title, look, they might still have a match against each other. But right now, it's not looking like it's going to be for the undisputed title. And it doesn't look like Cody Rhodes has a match against Drew McIntyre anytime soon. He's not in the Fatal 4-Way match. He's not in the Fatal 4-Way qualifier. So, yeah, Drew McIntyre is our new champion. And I absolutely love that they did this. Not just because Drew McIntyre deserves it, and because this story was running thin, and because I'm getting tired of Cody Rhodes just winning and retaining this title forever. Sure, he dropped it to Cena, but we all know why that happened. I was getting tired of this. And then this is like the 10th time we run back Drew McIntyre against Cody Rhodes. So I'm glad that WWE pulled the trigger. I'm glad that this is the way it ended. We're not sure if Jacob Fatu knows for a fact that Drew McIntyre was the one that attacked him. I think he attacked Drew McIntyre because he maybe didn't see who attacked him, and he assumes it was Drew. He also attacked Cody, so maybe he knows more than we think he knows. There is no for sure evidence out of tonight that tells us that Drew McIntyre was Jacob Fatu's attacker. So maybe it was Cody Rhodes. Maybe Cody Rhodes is turning heel. I don't know. To be quite frank with you, right now, I don't care, because I just love that Drew McIntyre won this title, and we got a title change on a random episode of SmackDown, just like I've been asking for. So yes. WWE, I don't know what you've done this year. I don't know if Road Dogg is still writing this. I don't know if somebody's there helping Road Dogg. I don't know if Road Dogg's like, maybe I should, try to keep my job. But SmackDown is cooked this year. There you have it. So much happened tonight. So much happened tonight during this Friday Night SmackDown. It's just these last 2 weeks of SmackDown have been such a breath of fresh air. Last week's Monday Night Raw didn't quite deliver, but I'm hoping that was just due to the crowd on this Monday night. I'm hoping it'll be better. But man, this Friday Night SmackDown was absolutely amazing. So much happened tonight. So much, 6 matches and some backstage segments. Like, if you guys aren't aware, I do a 60-second review of this, of every WWE show, and it was so hard to pack everything into my 60-second review. I did manage to do that though, so go check that out as well. But so much happened tonight. 6 matches, a title change, a big title change at that. Kudos to WWE. Kudos to the SmackDown writing team because, man, this has been amazing. Listen, if you made it this far, make sure to drop a like. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit subscribe. I post a lot on this channel. I'm sure there's something you'll like. And if you don't have a wrestling guy, I would love to be a wrestling guy. Let me know in the comments what you thought of tonight's show. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you all hated it and I'm just a mark. I mean, I'm definitely a mark, but maybe you guys all hated it and I loved it and I'm wrong. So let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know where you think they're going with some of these people. Where does Fenix go next? Where does Shinsuke Nakamura go next? What happens to Cody Rhodes next? We didn't even talk about that. I don't know what happens to Cody Rhodes next. Who wins the #1 contendership for the Royal Rumble? There's so much to talk about right now in terms of SmackDown. Let me know in the comments your thoughts. And again, made it this far, drop a like, subscribe, do all the things. Click on one of these videos. They're a lot of fun. I post a lot. You'll find something you like, I promise. So anyway, though, as always, until next time, have a nice day.